Now, in this particular video here, I just want to try in as much as possible to be very much brief enough. In fact, I'm currently at my workplace, but because today is on a weekend, I've decided maybe to take a few minutes so that I can do this particular analysis. So finally, the Azimio leader, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, has betrayed the Azimio La Umoja Alliance. And if you take your own time to do your own research and listen very keenly to what Azimio La Umoja Alliance supporters are talking about out there, you will come to realize that majority of Azimio supporters are very much disappointed in Raila Amolo Odinga. Reasons being that, first of all, previously, Raila Odinga conducted the demonstrations across the country, and especially in his major strongholds. And of course, majority of Azimio La Umoja Alliance supporters turned up in huge numbers to demonstrate. And in that process, majority of Azimio La Umoja Alliance supporters lost their lives. And if you can still remember very well, Raila Odinga was forced to lead the Azimio La Umoja Alliance leaders to conduct a prayer vigil so that they can remember those supporters of Azimio who lost their lives. Also, if you can still remember very well, Raila Odinga, together with the former head of state, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, contributed a total of 2 million Kenya shillings so that they can compensate the families that were affected during the demonstrations. Secondly, majority of Azimio La Umoja Alliance supporters were injured. Most of them are currently still in hospitals. Why? Because they cannot afford to pay the bills, the huge pending bills in the hospitals. They cannot get out simply because of the demonstrations. And thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, majority of Azimio La Umoja Alliance supporters were arrested during the demonstrations. Up to date, they haven't been released simply because they cannot afford money to bail themselves out. They are still arrested. But the question here is, why were they demonstrating? They were demonstrating because Raila Odinga had issued a total of 4 non-negotiable demands to President William Samoei Ruto. First of all, if you can still remember very well, Raila Odinga was very clear that he does not recognize William Samoei Ruto as the President of the Republic of Kenya until when the servers are open to the public. Raila Odinga pushed for the demonstrations for the servers to be opened. Up to date, the servers haven't been opened. Secondly, the Azimio La Umoja Alliance supporters were demonstrating simply because they wanted the reconstitution of the IEBC. According to Raila Odinga, he wanted both William Ruto's side and his side to come together so that they can reconstitute the IEBC officials. Remember that previously, President William Ruto had already appointed a 7-member panel to conduct that process because the IEBC commissioners should be appointed by now. The IEBC should not be left out. Something must be done. And thirdly, the reasons as to why majority of Azimio supporters were demonstrating, it is because of the Finance Act 2023. Raila Odinga and Azimio supporters and leaders came out to say it very clearly that they want President William Ruto to repeal the Finance Act 2023. And in fact, Raila Odinga did everything possible to ensure that the Finance Act does not go through, does not become effective. And that is why Raila Odinga started opposing the finance bill in parliament before it became an act. And after the Finance Act was passed in parliament, Raila Odinga went ahead to the courts to challenge the Finance Act 2023, but it did not succeed. Therefore, he decided to demonstrate so that the Finance Act can be repealed. But Finance Act was not repealed up to date. And also, the fourth point, and which is very, very important, is that majority of Azimio La Umoja Alliance supporters were demonstrating so that the cost of living can go down, to reduce the cost of living. That was the most important thing here. Then here comes a time when Raila Odinga and President William Ruto have agreed to have a dialogue meeting. Raila Odinga on his side decided to appoint Kalonzo Musyoka to lead the Azimio side in the dialogue meeting. at the Bomas of Kenya, while President William Ruto appointed the majority leader in the National Assembly, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah himself, to lead the bipartisan dialogue meeting in the Kenya Kwanza Alliance side. The bipartisan dialogue meeting continued for several weeks until recently they finally came up with the final decision. What was the decision that they agreed upon? They agreed on two things. First of all, both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza agreed to create the office of the opposition leader. And secondly, both Kenya Kwanza and Azimio agreed to create the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Remember that the office that the Prime Cabinet Secretary is currently, Musalia Mudavadi himself, is not legally created. So that is what President William Ruto was pushing on. So the reasons as to why majority of Azimio la Umoja Alliance supporters feel very much disappointed, it is because they feel betrayed by Raila Amolo Odinga. Whatever they fought for so hard, and the reasons as to why majority of them suffered while fighting for Raila Odinga, it was because of the cost of living. Was the cost of living addressed in that particular bipartisan dialogue meeting? What are the kind of measures that were implemented in that bipartisan dialogue meeting to solve the issue of the cost of living? Because up to date, honestly speaking, some of basic commodities, yes, they have reduced their prices, but also some basic commodities are at higher prices. Like, for example, the prices of unga. Here in Nairobi County, ladies and gentlemen, the prices of unga, despite the fact that it has reduced from 230 shillings, it is currently retailing at, I think, from 160 to 240 Kenya shillings, depending on the brand of unga that you want. So you can clearly tell that majority of things have not been solved. So basically, the reason as to why Azimio supporters are very much disappointed, it is because Raila Odinga used them to achieve his major political objective. I think Raila Odinga, what he wanted so much is to be in government in one way or another. And the position of the office of the opposition leader, Raila Odinga has accepted it with his both hands. But the main question that I'm still asking myself is that between Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga, who should take over as the official opposition leader? That is where the bitter fallout will begin. So let us wait and see how things will turn out to be. But currently, as we speak, majority of Azimio la Umoja Alliance supporters are very much disappointed. If you are watching me and you are one of the Azimio la Umoja Alliance supporters, I want to listen to you. Just post your comment on the comment section down below. Let us listen to you. What is your opinion? What is your views concerning all these issues? Otherwise, I don't have much. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to me. Until next time, my name is Jason, but please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.